Hi. Being confined to barracks like this has got me off thinking about all sorts of things. But generally, particularly this week, I've been thinking about the literary genre of biography. I've always taken a dim view, particularly of autobiography. But now there's the concept of memoirs and this thing called autofiction and, of course, formal biography and fictional biography, as well as those ordinary fiction books readers are convinced are born directly from the author's own life experiences. But taking things chronologically in my lockdown period, I suppose I must first mention Ramesh Ranganathan. He's a comedian who makes me laugh, and not only have I read his column in The Guardian over recent weeks, I've also watched reruns of his TV shows on catch-up, which led me to download his recently published book, Straight Outta Crawley, Memoirs of a Distinctly Average Human Being. Well, I did read it and found out vaguely interesting facts about him. He's a vegan, and his father ran a pub where Ramesh and his brother played records to the customers, cementing his lifelong love of hip-hop and another type of music which involves taking one sound and somehow integrating it with another to produce mind-blowing new songs. Plus, it was interesting to learn his father left shortly thereafter for jail when financial irregularities were discovered. The family had to find solace in the local council housing estate. I thought to myself, but didn't say out loud to anyone, a crap book, but a funny crap book. And I did only pay £1 for the pleasure. I suppose the publishers are to blame. Any money-making venture with a popular name attached, they're bound to pursue. And although I thought it, on the whole, badly written, I think Ramesh definitely was the author. No ghostwriters here. But was it the truth? Or did he imagine stuff to make himself appear all the more cool? Who knows? Next came the launching of 2 books, which could fall into the category of serious, semi-fictionalised biography. First and foremost, the third in Hilary Mantel's trilogy about Cromwell. It's called The Mirror and the Light. But it's still a little bit too expensive for me on Kindle at $12.49. However, I do agree when people say the books are a masterpiece and a triumph. The research she must have done, the ability to have her readers situate themselves in the history of the period is beyond imagining for the likes of me. The second book, which I know will be a knockout, is called Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. Again, far too expensive on Kindle at $9.99, but nevertheless. It's the story of Shakespeare's son and his death, and his life, and the life of his mother and sister in 1596. Another masterpiece in the making. I know that some people would just put these in the genre of well-researched historical novels, but my genre description would include a heavy biographical reference. It was about this time in my lockdown that I also completed reading The Break by Marian Keyes. This is one of the 13 novels this 56-year-old Irish writer has published. Accolades including readability, funny family life about modern women in a modern world. These are some of the things people say about her. and some even mentioned the fact that it could be chick lit. It was funny and very Irish. Everyone kept saying fecking. They did it a lot. But I definitely thought she used her own life experience for the framework of her story. So what's wrong with that, I hear you say? Isn't that what everyone does? I visited her glossy website only to discover she was not adverse to this practice. For example, when in 2009 she suffered a major depression, she was able to somehow quickly publish a new book, Saved by Cake, which combines recipes with autobiography. Sometimes I can be such a literary snob. Finally, to autofiction. I was reminded about this as I watched Series 1, Episode 7 of the Danish hit Ride Upon the Storm the other night. Elizabeth, one of the main characters, is a teacher, and she was introducing her class to the concept of this thing called autofiction, giving as an example the 6 books by the Norwegian Karl Ove Knausgaard. The books form part of what he calls My Struggle, or Mein Kampf in Norwegian. Wikipedia says that one definition of autofiction is books which have as the protagonist a character with the same name as the author, implying that it is an autobiography, but it may include imagined additions. Now, for my sins, I have read a couple of these books, and they are very, very detailed and sometimes banal descriptions of the protagonist's life, but in which his relatives and friends he thoroughly exposes to his venom. They caused a massive furore when they came out, not least for the title alluding to Hitler's Mein Kampf. Knausgaard lost his wife, and all his family and friends generally cold-shouldered him from there on in. Probably he was too truthful. I'm hesitant to recommend the books, but if you can afford $4.99, you might as well try the first book on your Kindle to see what all the fuss is about. So I'm coming to the end of my current views about biography. I know the genre is very popular, and I should be careful in my criticisms. And indeed, where would we be without books like the one by Robert Chandler, A Short Life of Pushkin? So I hope I haven't dented your enthusiasm too much with my contrary opinions. And I further hope that one day one of us will write a truly wonderful and, if possible,